Every single time I open my wardrobe, I feel a little bit overwhelmed. The thing that is hyped up in fashion is the attraction of the newness, and it's the design process that is sort of fetishized. We're totally allowed to adorn our bodies. There's something beautiful and enticing about fashion. Culture is really complex. It doesn't fit my body right now, so what's the point in holding on to it? This is a huge enough pile. There's a lot of guilt and shame sitting on our shoulders. Even though I feel a heaviness and a guilt around owning so many clothes that I know I don't need and I don't fully love, I choose to completely and wholeheartedly forgive, love, and approve of myself. Today, I'm going to declutter my wardrobe. I feel really anxious and nervous about this. It's not the first time that I've done a wardrobe declutter. I mean, obviously, I would guess most people have done at least one of these in their lives before. My wardrobe doesn't only hold clothing, and in one way, I've got less than I ever have had before. I still feel like it's far too much for me to manage. And every single time I open my wardrobe, I feel a little bit overwhelmed because I don't wear every single item in there. And there are some things in there that used to fit me and no longer do. And there are also some things in there that I used to really love and that I don't love or wear anymore. I think I've been finding it hard to let go of certain things. Maybe because they mattered a lot to me at a different time in my life. But the more I think about it, the more I realize that these objects, in this case clothes, they're just here for me to serve me in a certain phase of my life. And I think that by clinging on to old times, I'm actually hindering my progress to just be really happy with where I'm at right now. I think a lot of us mothers are mourning our pre-baby body. And I'm not sure if I fall into that category, strictly speaking, because I never liked my body before I was a mum. And then 3 years before my son was born, I started working on my body. I started exercising regularly. Alongside that, I started to work on loving my body and accepting it exactly the way it is. It equipped me for a really strong sense of love for myself and my body, which I've been finding really, really helpful in my postpartum journey as well. And that also meant that when I was pregnant, I still felt beautiful. It meant that postpartum, I still felt beautiful, even though I looked completely different to how I used to look. I just think that our bodies constantly change, and we sometimes think that we can make time stand still. But the reality of it is that that is not possible. And I think the more we find acceptance with the fact that life is made up of a ton of cycles, and there's that definite cycle of letting go of the old and embracing the new, while still trying to root yourself firmly in the here and now, I think that's what's important. I also have some thoughts on fashion. I used to work in the fashion industry, and I'm also a teacher, a tutor, and I work in academia, so I've been tutoring fashion students specifically on their bachelor dissertation. There's a huge interest that I've seen over the years grow more and more in sustainability, and I think it's absolutely crazy what the fashion industry is contributing towards the slow death of our planet. Oh, that sounds so horrible. Fashion is not environmentally friendly, but then again, culture is really complex, And I think, of course, we're totally allowed to adorn our bodies. There's something beautiful and enticing about fashion, something fascinating. And I do think that we deserve to express ourselves in whatever way we feel comfortable. I don't think that culture is ever straightforward. It's complex. It's none of that. Well, either it's good or either it's bad. I think there's just a spectrum of a ton of grey areas in between. Personally, I made the decision that most of my clothing that I bring into this home are secondhand clothes. I enjoy thrifting. I've even bought some pieces secondhand online from apps like Vinted. And while the fact that fashion is so unsustainable, even if they're trying to sell it to you in a sustainable way, while that is a huge motivator for me, the biggest motivator for me is the ethical factor. I think the way that our clothes are produced is absolutely horrific. It's something that the fashion industry loves to turn a blind eye on, if that's the right phrase. And they pretend that it's not happening because guess what? The thing that is hyped up in fashion is the attraction of the newness, and it's the design process that everyone is excited about, that is sort of fetishized, whereas the actual physical production process is something that tends to be hidden. And we all know that this is not limited to fast fashion only. But still, we still need to wear clothes. I also don't think that we should feel bad about wanting to consume new things. It's so hypocritical to tell people that the decision is on you when we are constantly, every single hour of our waking lives, we are bombarded with advertising. Every single time we open our phone, whether we're on Instagram or we are reading newspaper articles online, whatever we're doing, there's constantly adverts for stuff. There's a lot of guilt and shame sitting on our shoulders. For me in the past, declutters have always helped me because every single time I've done a huge purge, I understand that I actually need way less. Yes, I might get a few new pieces with every season, but I can choose to buy them, number one, secondhand, and I can also choose to only purchase things that I know I love 100%, where there isn't anything where I'm like, this would look good if only I made a little alteration here, or if only, I don't know, someone might say, if only I lost X amount of weight, then it would fit me. Like, I don't buy those things anymore. I'm so glad about that because I used to do that a lot. But still, I think it's inevitable to every season that we purchase new things to pick up a few pieces along the way that we thought were going to be really, really special and amazing. And then it turns out we don't really wear them. Or when we do wear them, they don't really feel quite right for whatever reason. So my exercise today is to let go of anything that I do not love 100%. But what I would like to do now is start off with some affirmations just to calm the nerves. And if you feel like it, you can join in and maybe just close your eyes and listen to the words. Even though I feel anxious about purging clothes from my wardrobe, I completely and wholeheartedly forgive, love, and approve of myself. Even though I feel a heaviness and a guilt around owning so many clothes that I know I don't need and I don't fully love, I choose to completely and wholeheartedly forgive, love, and approve of myself. Even though there are times when I don't fully embrace my beautiful body, and even though there might be times when that little nagging voice in the back of my head is coming back and telling me that always inadequate, that I need to look and feel better about myself, I now choose to completely forgive, love, and honor myself. I understand that holding on to these clothes might give me a certain level of comfort, especially when I think about the resources I have put into sourcing these items. But I also understand that these resources and the money was already spent, and that I am free to let them go now. I also understand that by doing this, by making this grand gesture, I break the cycle of buying more things in order to feel happier. And I now choose to completely love, forgive, honor, and approve of myself. I choose to honor the pace in which I do this declutter, and I understand that there's no right or wrong pace, and that I am exactly where I need to be right now. I also understand that purging and decluttering my wardrobe is an ongoing practice. As the seasons change, as I go through different seasons in my life, I will always come back to this time of purging, of letting go of the old and embracing the new, and of honoring and accepting the present moment. And I now choose to completely and wholeheartedly forgive, love, and accept myself. I forgive myself for all of the decisions I have made up until this point when it comes to the clothing I put on my body. And I now choose to release any old residual feelings of inadequacy, of wanting to fit in, of wanting to be liked. And I fully embrace my own sense of style, and I fully embrace my body exactly the way it is right here, from this day forward until forever. I am grateful for having a body, and I am grateful for all of the clothes that have warmed, protected, and adorned my body. I am ready to embrace the new me, and I am ready to purge the old. I love myself, and I love my body exactly the way it is. And so it is. that was really tough. I feel quite emotional. Actually, I surprised myself by how ruthless I was and how many things I got rid of that I'm just looking at one specific dress right now. For example, this dress, as beautiful as it is, and I bought this so recently, I'm letting go of it because it doesn't fit my body right now. So what's the point in holding on to it? The money was actually wasted the moment I bought it, where I knew, because I did try this on, but I didn't include it in my return. That's when I wasted the money, not today, by letting go of it. So although it stings, it's a reminder that if something isn't 100%, I'm not gonna buy it. And ironically, the dress I'm wearing today is something I purchased last weekend. We were away and I found it in a charity shop. There was also a flowery top and I tried it on and it was beautiful, but it was too short. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna take it home because it was like 90% nice, but not 100% nice. Whereas this dress, I love it already. I know, and I knew in the changing room that this was gonna be a favorite. If something isn't a hell yeah, then it doesn't deserve to come into my life. Side note, I don't believe in half-decent home loungewear. I don't do that anymore. Any of my comfy home clothes, I would happily wear outdoors as well. If you're finding yourself in like, where shall I start with a declutter? Start with your loungewear. If you wouldn't pop into the shops with it, then it doesn't deserve to be in your closet, let alone on your beautiful body. This is a huge enough pile. I mean, if I was gonna put that together, I could probably squeeze it into one big bag, like a weekend bag type thing, or maybe 2 bags. Plus my husband, he decided to do a clothing declutter recently. So in the storage cupboard that I did in my last video, there's like another pile of clothes, probably as many as here, that I think I'm gonna donate together with these today. So I'll show you the end result in a picture of how much I'm actually going to drop off today. Also, I have a separate pile with anything that has got holes in it where I know they won't be, or stains, where I know they won't be able to sell it anymore in a charity shop. But what you can do is you can donate it at your local H&M. They have a textile recycling scheme and you can include clothing that is faulty. You can also donate good clothes in there as well. You get a voucher, I think per bag, at least here in the UK, per bag you get £5 off if you spend £25 in store. So it's a voucher, but essentially it's a trick, isn't it? You don't have to spend that voucher because it means that you're buying more things. But should there be something that you actually need, like I am like right now looking at my pile of clean tank tops. I think I've only got 4. I know I've got some in the wash, but this may be something that I may have to get in the future, although chances are I actually don't need anymore, because if I've got 4 clean ones right now, like, you know, on a normal average day, that's plenty. But yeah, textile recycling is a really good thing to do. Knowing that I'm not just chucking it into landfill really helps me to let go of it. It does feel a little bit heavy here and there, but I know myself. I know that I won't look back on letting go of any of this. The fact that I feel emotional, it comes from the exercise right now of letting go, of seeing these things and dealing with the guilt, shame, dealing with the loss of time. But I know that once they're gone and I've actually let them go and they're no longer in my home, I know I'm not going to look back. I know that for a fact, because out of the stuff that I dropped off last time in my video 2 weeks ago, I couldn't even tell you what specifically it was. I'd have to go back and watch that video to see if I could catch it in the time lapse, because yeah, I remember there were like some maternity dresses, but there's nothing where I'm like, oh shoot, why did I get rid of that? Nothing. And it was very freeing. But still, I'm allowing myself to feel a little bit sad right now, and I think that's fine and it's natural. I think I'm going to take a break now, and then I'm going to put the stuff into bags and drop it off and call it a day.